If you don't pivot today, you'll regret it in 6 months. I know I did. At 43, I realized that I was done trading hours for dollars and made the leap to passive income. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be revealing the 5 clear signs that it's time to pivot in your business. Plus, I'm going to be sharing the mindset shifts that made all the difference for me and can do the same for you. Hi, I'm DupeRAleru, and I am a faith-driven entrepreneur and digital product creator. My digital product journey actually started back in 2011 when I published my very first children's book called Animals in Action A through Z. I then spent the next 14 years building curriculums for school districts and government agencies, as well as digital resources for small business owners. I honestly always had this dream of having a business model that was digital, but I allowed the fear of letting go what was working, being a motivational speaker and an online business coach, to starting something new. And this fear actually kept me in this unscalable coaching loop. If you've ever felt trapped, you're making decent money, but your purpose is missing, or you're dreading another day full of calls, you're actually in the right place. These 5 signs that I'm about to share with you actually saved me from burnout and will hopefully do the same for you and give you the freedom that you crave. Let's start with sign number 1. You know it's time to change when you wake up with dread. This happened to me so many times throughout my career. It's that sinking feeling that you feel when your alarm clock goes off. You hit snooze. And you don't even hit snooze because you're tired. You hit snooze because it's the heaviness of the day ahead. Or like me, you get up anyways and you do your job, but there's no joy in it. You're literally just going through the motion, checking off the list for the day. I vividly remember a day in 2024. I woke up in the morning, 5 a.m., to get ready for my morning routine, to work out and then get ready for my day long of coaching calls. And I just remember a pit in my stomach. And I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. And it's not because I don't love coaching, because I do. I actually love coaching. My background is in education, so teaching comes natural to me. It was in that moment I recognized that coaching alone didn't fulfill my creativity. For me, creativity means creating courses, ebooks, guides, curriculums, podcasts, videos, TV shows, books, you name it, I've probably created it. And because coaching wasn't fulfilling my creative itch, I recognized very quickly where that dread was coming from. So your first job is to actually listen to that dread. It's your spirit's alarm telling you that you're out of alignment. And if you ignore it and continue to ignore it, it actually compounds the burnout. Sign number 2 builds on that. Let's say that you're making money and even maybe you get praise for what you're doing, but something is definitely missing. It may not be your purpose completely, but definitely there's something off and you can't pinpoint it. So you catch yourself asking this question, why am I actually doing this? And then you find yourself in your daily tasks not having the same amount of joy that you used to have. That was me. In 2023, I launched my very first 5-day challenge. I was so excited. And that first challenge, I made a lot of money. And the challenges that followed every month, I ended up making more money than I've ever had in my business. However, it just felt like it was a day-to-day grind. I wasn't happy. I was just so burned out all the time. I would literally be on client calls from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I recognized like, this is not what I had in mind for a legacy business. This is not what I want. It felt like a 9 to 5. There were even some days where I wouldn't even eat my first meal until 3 or 4 p.m. There was a clear disalignment, and that's when I knew something had to be done. I want you to understand that your purpose is your North Star. And if it doesn't point you, if your work doesn't point you in that direction, you know it's time to pivot. Sign number 3 is what every entrepreneur fears: burnout. You're on Zoom calls back to back all day long. Your notifications don't stop. You're creating content on the loop, but there's no joy in it. The joy is gone, and all your work honestly starts to feel endless. You know, I actually tracked my time in 2023. I realized that I was on coaching calls 3 to 4 hours a day. I was engaging in my membership community where I coach clients for at least 1 hour. I was spending 1 to 2 hours filming content and then another 3 to 4 hours editing content. I also was engaging with my online community and marketing for another 3 hours a day, and still I wasn't caught up. I still felt trapped in my work. I also recognized that I was losing myself. I would spend time in the house all the time. I was no longer hanging out with my friends and family. I found myself actually looking forward to my hair appointments because that was the only self-care time that I had to myself. I realized that something had to change. So one day I decided, okay, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. And during that 2 weeks is when I recognized and decided that I needed to pivot. Here's something that I want everyone to understand. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It's actually a signal. And the real growth that you are seeking in your life and in your business is going to come from building systems that work when you're asleep, not just when you're awake. Sign for actually hits you in your wallet. This is when your income has hit a ceiling. So you're adding more clients to your roster. However, your revenue graph is kind of flat. This is exactly what happened to me. I was working with one-on-one clients. I was working with one-to-many. I had group coaching clients. However, my income kind of hit like a cap. So I recognized, like, you know what? I want to start working on my business, not in my business. And this is when I decided to build a digital product business that would be later my legacy business. When you look at digital products, ebooks, courses, templates, you can scale them infinitely. One product can sell 10 times or 10,000 times with zero incremental labor, which leads me to sign number 5, the dream that drives every pivot: freedom. You want time with your family, travel, rest. You just don't want a business, you want a life. I vividly remember waking up one morning, this was after I turned 40, and I was like, oh no. I realized that I completely punted my 20s and 30s to entrepreneurship. And I didn't prioritize family. I didn't prioritize friends. I never took a real vacation. I was now 40 with all these accolades and experiences and success when it comes to business, but I didn't have the life that I wanted. And for so many years, I thought that I was winning. But in that moment, I felt like I was at rock bottom. I was single, no kids, and I didn't have the relationships that I desired. But the thing that lit the fire underneath me was I realized that I still had time to change. And that was when I realized, okay, I want to build a business that actually works for me and not the other way around. I want you to keep in mind that pivoting to digital products isn't just about making money. It's about reclaiming your time and living by your values. Pivoting is scary. You're actually going to be leaving something that's working for the unknown. I would question myself all the time. What if this doesn't work? What if I fail? But then I remembered Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord and your plans will succeed. So I kept building and I kept building until one day I actually made $1,000 in one day. And I know that's not overnight riches, but it taught me something, that systems do work. Success in digital products will come from consistent action, baby steps, and unwavering faith. If you're over 30 and you're feeling that pull towards change, I want you to go ahead and take a deeper dive into these 5 signs. Do not wait until regret hits. Go ahead and comment the word pivot and let me know what sign really resonated with you most, and let's go ahead and start that journey towards change together. If you found this video helpful, feel free to subscribe to my channel and grab my free 5-step guide to creating and selling digital products. And then stay tuned for my next video. It took me 43 years to stop trading time for money. Here's what you need to know in 10 minutes. I'll see you in the next one.